What is existentialism? Existentialism is a philosophy that holds that each of us has to give our own life meanings and purposes. The thinkers from the 90s and 20s that are related to existentialism are Soren Kierkegaard, Friedrich Nietzsche, and Fyodor Dostoevsky. They are all opposed to rationalism and address the issues of meaning.
Existentialism was emerging notably in the aftermath of World War I and subsequent societal upheavals. Existentialism gained momentum. Philosophers such as Martin Heidegger and Jean Paul Sartre solidified its concept, responding to the crisis of meaning in an ever-changing world. The founder of existentialism is Soren Kierkegaard. He stands as the father of existentialism. He also emphasized the subjective experience, the significance of choice, and critique organized religion, laying foundation ideas for the movement. Factors that lead development of existentialism. First, big historical event. Existentialism grew after World War I and World War II and the Holocaust. These catastrophic events left people feeling disillusioned and searching for deeper meaning in life as traditional beliefs were shattered. Second, smart thinkers' influence. Philosophers like Kierkegaard and Nietzsche laid the groundwork for existentialism. Kierkegaard emphasized personal ability and subjective truth, while Nietzsche challenged conventional values, contributing to existentialist ideas. The third one, rejecting all ideas. Existentialism rebelled against established philosophical thought like idealism, rationalism, and it put more value on individual human experiences rather than abstract ideas and universal truth.
The principle and the characteristic of existentialism. What are the principles? The principles are five. The five principles are freedom and responsibility, existence presence, observe, authenticity, and the last one, disbelief in God. I'm going to start with the most important principle, which is disbelief in God. All atheists can categorize as existentialists because they don't believe in God. And the second one is freedom and responsibility. It means that we are free to choose whatever we want, but we must take responsibility of what we choose. And the third one is the observe. The observe means the existentialists comment that in the world there are no meaning to the world. They call this senseless part of the world the observe. And the fourth one, existence presence, meaning that the traditional philosophy concept told that even before we were born, we have been given a fate or what we have to be. But the existentialists deny this, and they said whatever we choose, we decide what we want to be. And the last one is the authenticity. The authenticity means that we have to be honest on our own belief and choice, not by following the society choice and belief. That's all for the principle and characteristic of existential.
Now I want to tell about what is impact of ideology to people. The first one is nationalism. Nationalism influences how a group sees things, combining current event and history to plan ahead. It is emotionally strong, putting loyalty to the nation first. In conflict, it emphasizes national allegiance, seeing the nation as the main political focus and aspect sacrifice for the common good. The debate on whether nations are culture, creation, or inherent entities explored. If nations are natural, with nationalism arguing they are instincts, held together by shared elements like culture or citizenship. The second one is liberalism. Widely followed in the Western world, claimed to be universally true, immigrating in the 70s and 80s centuries. It gained momentum with the rise of capitalism and the industrial middle class. Early advocates like Locke, Voltaire, Adam Smith, and Montesquieu support liberal ideas such as the social contract, emphasizing citizen right and justifying rebellion against a state infringing on those rights. Locke highlights religious tolerance, emphasizing its importance for social harmony while maintaining loyalty to the state. Liberal values like free speech and tolerance are deeply ingrained in Western society, making them influential and challenging to oppose without seeming extreme. And the last one is fascism. Fascism is a political ideology associated with racism, imperialism, authoritarianism, and state terrorism. In extreme case, like Germany, it resulted in the Holocaust, causing millions of civilian deaths. Fascism used violence for political control against citizens and colonial subjects. Thinkers like Adorno and Horkheimer believe fascism stemmed from modernity's flaw, while Freud saw it as a distorted representation of power. This perspective offers varied views on fascism origins in modern society.
Inshallah, I will present about the strength of existentialism as an ideology. First and foremost, existentialism emphasizes on the importance of unrestricted freedom as an individual to make our own choice and decisions regarding our life. If these key points of existentialism is used and practiced correctly and thoroughly, a path that led to development of ourselves as a human being will be open. With freedom, a wide variety of potential can be explored throughout our life. Meaningful experience, hobbies, goals, and much more can be gained when freedom are in the hands of individuals. All of these key aspects of life are what made our life so meaningful. One of the main issues in this postmodern era is that the society tends to govern individuals' life with strict doctrinal and rigid rules, especially in the east side of the world. As an example, a lot of undergraduate students are forced to pursue their studies in a field that they have no patience or interest in. Therefore, they tend to go through depression that can result to be more social problems such as suicide. In the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 256, Allah has emphasized that there should not be compulsion in religion. Allah has created human with different and unique trait and personality. To be controlled with a rigid rule that block a certain individual's way of life and passion is not a teaching of Islam. In conclusion, the ideology of existentialism is a belief that views the mankind itself as the focal point of life. Every religion or the way of life for each individual are determined by themselves. Although it might not look problematic, the manself itself are created with limited way of thinking. It is a natural occurrence that mankind views their life based off their logical thinking by using their mind, such as deduction and experimentation. But the life that we are experiencing will not be able to understood with only the mind of the mankind. Spiritual occurrence and unexpected situation are not be able to be analyzed only with the brain itself. That is why Islam is not only a worldview but also its way of life. Allah has sent the Quran as a revelation to the mankind so that they can grasp what cannot be grasped by them. The absurdity of life that are claimed by the existentialists are very cruel and not suitable for the nature of human. The act of living and experiencing our life are what made the mankind to strive and pursue what they want. Furthermore, we can conclude that extreme freedom could lead to destruction of mankind. This observation is not only be able to summarize from the analysis of existentialism, but also has been shown to us in this postmodern era condition. The occurrence of LGBTQ, the increase of crime rates, and much more are the result of excessive freedom that are given to the mankind. Lastly, it is fascinating that the Islam worldview has the same important component of the system with other ideology, but with a slight difference. As an example, the very revealing point in terms of similarity, which is freedom. However, the freedom that were given by Islam are given with a set of boundaries that are determined by Allah in order to prevent any disastrous occurrence that cannot be analyzed by mankind. Therefore, the credibility of Islamic worldviews are further established as it given the solution to the shortcoming of other ideology.
Hey, what are you guys doing?
We are discussing about existentialism.
Oh, so can you tell me what is existentialism?
Existentialism is a philosophy that entitled each one of us is responsible for our own will and action and does not determined by God. So what do you think about the characteristic of existentialism?
Yeah, I think the one of characteristic is existence precedes essence. This is one of the most crucial concept in understanding existentialism theory. This explores the idea that we exist and find meaning later. We have free choice to create our meaning and develop our values. The concept explains that this is our purpose in life, to create meaning. Existential philosophers believe that when we are born, we are nothing. Instead, through developing meaning, we become what we make of ourselves. So, Ama, what is the main factor of existentialism development?
So I think the main factor of existentialism is the philosopher influence. Philosopher like Kierkegaard laid the groundwork for existentialism. He emphasized personal responsibility and subjective truth. He also stressed the significant responsibility, the importance of individual choice and need to live authentically. And Haras, in your opinion, what's the strength of existentialism?
Oh, I think my opinion about the strength of this ideology is that existentialism emphasizes on the importance of unrestricted freedom. With freedom, a wide variety of potential can be explored in ourselves. As you guys know, Allah created us with a unique and special characteristic. Meaningful experience, hobbies, and goal what make our life beautiful and can be experienced. All of this. One of the main issues in this postmodern era is that society tend to govern individual life with strict routinal and rigid rules. As an example, in the east side of the world, usually that undergraduate students are forced to pursue their studies in a field that they have no passion and interest in. Therefore, they tend to go in depression. They tend to go to depression that can result to more social problems such as suicide. I think that is one of the strengths of this ideology.
Okay, I think let's conclude our discussion for today. Let's all go for lunch.
Our ability, unlike the other animals, to conceptualize our own end creates tremendous psychic strains within us, whether we like to admit it or not. In each man's chest, a tiny ferret of fear at this ultimate knowledge gnaws away at his ego and his sense of purpose. We're fortunate, in a way, that our body and the fulfillment of its needs and functions play such an imperative role in our lives. This physical shell creates a buffer between us and the mind-paralyzing realization that only a few years of existence separate birth from death. If man really sat back and thought about his impending termination and his terrifying insignificance and aloneness in the cosmos, he would surely go mad, or succumb to a numbing sense of futility. Why, he might ask himself, should he bother to write a great symphony, or strive to make a living, or even to love another, when he is no more than a momentary microbe on a dust mote whirling through the unimaginable immensity of space? Those of us who are forced by their own sensibilities to view their lives in this perspective, who recognize that there is no purpose they can comprehend and that amidst a countless myriad of stars their existence goes unknown and unchronicled, can fall prey all too easily to the ultimate enemy. But even for those who lack the sensitivity to more than vaguely comprehend their transience and their triviality, this inchoate awareness robs life of meaning and purpose. It's why the mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation, why so many of us find our lives as absent of meaning as our deaths. The world's religions, for all their parochialism, did supply a kind of consolation for this great ache, but as clergymen now pronounce the death of God, and, to quote Arnold again, the sea of faith recedes around the world with a melancholy, long withdrawing roar. Man has no crutch left on which to lean, and no hope, however irrational, to give purpose to his existence. This shattering recognition of our mortality is at the root of far more mental illness than I suspect even psychiatrists are aware. If life is so purposeless, do you feel it's worth living? The very meaninglessness of life forces man to create his own meaning. Children, of course, begin life with an untarnished sense of wonder, a capacity to experience total joy at something as simple as the greenness of a leaf. But as they grow older, the awareness of death and decay begins to impinge on their consciousness and subtly erode their joie de vivre, their idealism, and their assumption of immortality. As a child matures, he sees death and pain everywhere about him, and begins to lose faith in the ultimate goodness of man. But, if he's reasonably strong and lucky, he can emerge from this twilight of the soul into a rebirth of life's elan. Both because of and in spite of his awareness of the meaninglessness of life, he can forge a fresh sense of purpose and affirmation. He may not recapture the same pure sense of wonder he was born with, but he can shape something far more enduring and sustaining. The most terrifying fact about the universe is not that it is hostile, but that it is indifferent. But if we can come to terms with this indifference and accept the challenges of life within the boundaries of death, however mutable man may be able to make them, our existence as a species can have genuine meaning and fulfillment. However vast the darkness, we must supply our own light.